Hey everybody, it's Nurse D here, and I just wanted to come on here for a short few minutes. I didn't even plan this, but I wanted to talk about quickly the different types of nursing fields or nursing areas that you can work in. I run into so many nurses or CNAs that are in school to be a nurse or inspiring nurses that are just frustrated. Typically, they're already working in an area within healthcare, but they're unhappy. And they're like, well, I don't want to be a nurse anymore, or I think I just wasted almost 2 to 3 years of being in nursing school and I'm almost done and I don't want to finish because these conditions are horrible and I just don't like it and I'm just going to find something else. So there is hope. Go out. It's so many different areas and specialties of nursing in the don't look at where you're at. Look at the different opportunities that you have in nursing. During this century or during this time, nobody expects anybody to be able to stay at one place for 40 years or until their retirement age and be at the bedside doing the same thing for all these years. Those days are gone. These days, people have so many different opportunities. It's so many fields that you can jump into. Even if you're in that area for a year or two and you're like, well, I'm tired of this. Let me try something else in nursing. So I'm going to go over some of the different areas of nursing that you can get into. If you don't like one area, go and get into another area. You don't have to be stuck in one type of specialty or one type of facility. You don't. So first I want to talk about hospital bedside nursing. There are different specialties in nursing in the hospital. You can work in the ER, you can work in ICU, med surge, the operating room, their psychiatric department, mother baby, labor and delivery, pediatrics, NICU, oncology. There are so many different areas. If you want to stay at the bedside where you're giving direct patient care, the opportunity is there. And so if you get bored with one area, go to another. And if you're a person that really likes diversity, every time you come into work, you can work in the float pool. I worked in the float pool. I have worked in so many different areas because I get bored very easily. So the float pool is an easy way to just experience so many different units in such a short time frame. So in the float pool, when you come to work, you get there and they tell you the different units that may need help or for you to go to that need help that day because somebody called off and they need an extra nurse to help out. So in that way, I ended up getting experience on all of the floors and all of the units in the hospital except ER. They did not allow me to float to the ER because that was a special area. So they wanted somebody that really has a background in ER. But outside of that, it was so many different units that I got to float to and experience that was so exciting to me. And it was something that I was able to experience different areas on different days. Even though I really didn't have a choice as far as which unit I was going to, It was exciting, and it didn't make my job boring or anything, coming into the same unit, dealing with the same people, dealing with the same clients every single day. And I guess that's why I was an ER nurse for 11 years because it was so much variety. So, leaving outside of the bedside nursing in the hospital, there are other units like the quality department. The quality department does hire nurses. I was a quality director myself, and they have nurses that pretty much is a desk job, and they abstract data from the clinical documentation of the floor nurses on a daily basis. And this is for a lot of times reimbursement from Medicare and Medicaid that we're doing this. There are also different types of programs that your hospital may be involved in, or different hospitals may be involved in. I was a chest pain center program coordinator at one time, so that was over the whole program for anybody that came into the hospital that either had chest pain or they were actively having a heart attack. So I was in charge of that whole program within the hospital, all the way up from the ER all the way to discharge. I was involved in that whole process. So look at your quality department, and typically these are Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 jobs that you can work in. And also included in the quality department, typically they end up mixing risk management as well, where they do hire nurses to be over that. And that was one of my units that I was also over. Being the quality director, I was over risk management. Now, I've been at other hospitals where they have it separate, just because it's so much involved. And it's a lot involved in risk management, but basically it's helped to minimize the hospital being sued, or the facility that you're in being sued, and decreasing that risk, or handling issues that come up, can get into a situation where it's a possibility of being sued. Another wonderful department that I just loved, oh my goodness, I love this because I am an IT geek in a small way. So I really enjoyed this, and this is the IT department. Specifically, I was an IT informaticist as a nurse, and our department solely just had nurses working in this department. And basically, what we did was we would build the actual documentation system for the floor nurses. And the reason that they wanted nurses within this position was because we know how it feels to be a nurse and to document, and we're able to build the system where it's going to be easy or user friendly for our nurses on the front end. That's the reason why they had nurses. We would actually go and meet with the different departments and ask about different things as far as charting, to get feedback from the staff and build it the way that they wanted it to be built as well. So we did work within the departments. My main department, of course, I was over the ER because I had so much experience in the ER, and I pretty much knew how the flow was, and I knew how to communicate better with like the ER physicians, because yes, you're also building it for the physicians, not just the nurses, but everybody involved, including CNAs, everybody that's involved in the clinical documentation. We also trained any new nurses on, or any new staff that was going to use the computer system. I really enjoyed this, and I actually had planned to go farther into the IT informatics field. I wanted to become a director, and also they do have a bachelor's and master's program. I was specifically going to get a master's within IT informatics but I decided to get my master's in nursing and leadership and management. Life turned out a different way and took me in a different direction. So that's how life is. Another area within the hospital is case management. As a lot of y'all may already know, the case managers do a lot. As soon as somebody is admitted, they're already working on the discharge plan, looking at the resources that this patient is going to need when they go home, if they're going to need home health. If so, they set that up. Are they going to need to go to just an assisted living facility or skilled nursing facility instead of going home? Are they going to need to go to an actual rehab facility? Now, yes, the hospital does have rehab, but sometimes patients need more rehab once they get discharged from the hospital. So they look at all those factors. And in addition, case managers do meet, of course, with the patient, and they have family meetings where if it's, wife, children, and stuff, a lot of people that's involved in this patient care, they do have meetings about what the setup is at home, what's going to be the best discharge plan for this patient. And also, the case manager does advocate a lot for the patient throughout their stay as well. So case managers stay pretty busy. When I was a quality director, I did work with the case management department a lot. And they do a lot more than you would think that they do, but they work very hard. And sometimes that's why they can be a bit snappy at times, but I have to give them their credit. I didn't know as much as they do within the hospitals. But yeah, so typically the case managers, their typical shift is Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. It is a little different depending on what hospitals you're at. It is possible that they do 12-hour shifts as well and go over, because if they're trying to get things set up and things don't work out, then they have to stay over to make sure this patient is taken care of. And it's so many moving pieces when it comes to case management. But this is the desk job. You're meeting with a lot of people. You're not doing bedside care at all. In the hospital is infection control. So typically this is a registered nurse. They do have a certification that you can get in this field. I was also the director over infection control where I was as well. A lot of times they're looking at cultural results to make sure patients are being put on the right type of antibiotic. If they're not on the right type of antibiotic based on the culture, then they'll reach out to the doctor to let them know, hey, we should be putting this patient on this type of antibiotic as well, or putting this patient on this antibiotic instead of this antibiotic. So they do work very closely with the physicians and tell them, well, they need to be ordering based on what the protocol is. In addition, they're over the staff, making sure that they follow the policies for infection control, washing their hands, dealing with the PPE, making sure the standard precautions and contact precautions are being implemented appropriately, educating the staff as well. And another area I want to talk about is home health. So home health is outside of the hospital, but this is another place where you can actually take care of the patients at bedside, but you only have one-on-one interaction, one patient at a time. And yes, this involves driving to a person's home. So there are some downsides because you don't know what type of condition these patient homes are in. Everybody is not to your standards as clean, and some people are. So you have to know that everybody has a different way of living. There can be rodents, there can be a lot of junk within the home, or some people are hoarders. It is a different environment that you don't have any control over. But I mean, it can be fun. You're dealing with one person at a time, driving out to their home. It's a different option for you. Another area is physician offices. So typically, physician offices, the hours are from 8 to 5 or 9 to 5. You don't have to do any holidays or weekends. If this is something that you prefer, this is a great option for you. It's not really critical situations. Most of the times, these patients are coming in where they're healthy. It's just for follow-up appointments, just a routine checkup. That is pretty easy situations to care for people and in a short amount of time. And you build relationships with patients, because you'll see y'all will have the same patients over and over again, and have more of long-term clients that you build relationships with. Other type areas are clinics. Now, there are many different clinics. There are just regular clinics or county clinics. There are fertility clinics. They pay well. These are people that are trying to have a baby, and they're having issues just naturally having it. So they do hire nurses, and this is the typical, most of the times, 8 to 5. There are some on call with that based on the different situations when women are ovulating. Typically, it's going to be Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Medical spas is awesome. I've never done it before, but I'm sure I would definitely enjoy that. And once again, they get paid very well. This involves like injections, like Botox and other more of invasive things that people do to their face or other body areas, where they hire nurses to do or perform these procedures on the clients that come into these medical spas. Plastic surgery centers. I don't know if y'all are familiar with the TV show from back in the day, Nip Tuck. I used to watch that. So if you've ever seen that show, yes, they do hire nurses, and they have their own kind of it's definitely outside of the hospital, their own little kind of surgery centers and follow-up area. But they do hire nurses, and they pay very good as well. Last but not least is there are a lot of work from home jobs for nurses. Some different positions are utilization review nurses. A lot of times you can find these with insurance company like United Healthcare. They also hire case managers. So those two positions are good if you already have case management positions to try to get on within that. Also, another work from home job is triage nurses. So especially if you have triage experience, if you were working in an ER as a triage nurse, they have all types of triage positions. But a lot of times with the work from home jobs, it doesn't pay as well as you would like for it to pay. They are getting, I guess, a little better about the pay, but you do have to take in consideration that you don't have to worry about getting in your car and actually driving to work every day and then driving back, which that takes money as well. So it does help you save money when you think about that part. And then also just looking at the food. A lot of times when we're at work, we want to get something to eat within the hospital or area, or buy food as well. Some of y'all are disciplined where you make your own food and bring it to work and you never spend money at work as far as food when it comes to lunchtime. But if you work from home, it makes it so much easier not to spend any money on food when you're here, and you can just go downstairs to get something to eat. That does help you save money. So you have to look at those two factors and say, well, I'm not going to be spending as much money, so the pay is going to be less. So I hope this video helped you to convince you to stay into nursing. If this is the area that you want to be, check out my video that I have, Don't Become a Nurse If. I'll put it at the end of this video for you to check out. If you haven't already become a nurse, to look at that video, definitely. But if nursing is your passion and you love it, it's so many different areas, and I didn't even cover everything in this video about the different nursing positions, but just know that you have options and stick with it. But go to another area. Go to another area. You don't have to be in the same place, okay? So hopefully this helps you to stick with nursing, because we need nurses that really love caring for people and that just have that heart of caring. All right. Well, y'all have a great day. See y'all next time.